Hi guys, just wanted to introduce my new latest update on the Space Bowling Alley. I've been working on it about a month alongside IvanGS and Purpleskin, otherwise known as Jack. It wouldn't have taken us a month, except we have spent quite a lot of time diddling on random ideas that might have worked that turned out not to. I initially wanted to have a crane system that sort of worked like a cable car principle that then relayed the Skittles back in place, but realistically it just wasn't feasible, so that's the method we ended up with. However, if I show you the rest of it, and let's start with the actual alley itself. It's a good length, just so much so that the view distance won't get screwed up when you come back to actually sit in the seat. It's all powered by gravity generators, which are reasonably self-explanatory, as the only ones that you'll have control over are the ones in the guns. I've currently set up the bowling ball, but the pins aren't, so let me do that first. I'm just going to fly over there. It's very easy to use the ship. It's available via the Steam Workshop, and you can simply copy and paste it in. Now before I get in, you'll see in the little gaps here the inertial mass blocks, and the reason I've left those gaps to show them is so that you can see if they're on or off. You can turn them on from within the ship if I turn the UI on. However, you want them off as you're putting the ship down, as the station's gravity will remain on, and if you turn it on, even with the large amount of thrusters, it simply can't keep it airborne, so you'll end up with a hole. So just going to go and place these down. Just changing the viewing angle a little bit so I don't slam into the floor. But to be fair, once you get close, you can actually just turn the inertial mass blocks on, and as you see, you just drop. Second to that, once you've turned them all on, simply switch the merge blocks off, and I can now fly straight up, and as you see, leave the Skittles behind. I'm just going to move this out of the way for the sake of it. In fact, let's just bring it behind. Swing it around. You can delete this out of the world, in fact. It's just going to cause more latency where it's not needed, so let's Control X that out of the way. Obviously, like I say, you can bring that back in at any point if you download the blueprint with a new full set of Skittles. So once you actually have your Skittles in the alley, it's simply a case of hopping into this seat here, which will control this gun. There's two sets of groups which contain all these forward gravity generators, and a singular group which holds this one just underneath the landing feet here. The feet are set to auto lock, and in order that you reset this, which I'll just show you now, I'm actually going to delete that and say all of the gravity generator blocks are off. You can simply bring this out a little bit, turn off your inertial dampeners, fly sideways a little bit with auto lock on, just click, and oh, I missed it entirely. Brilliant. Perfect example. Right, so take two, trying to get that actually to stick to the relevant bit. It's usually very easy. In fact, that's actually the first time I've ever messed it up. There you go, simple as. I'm simply going to hop in the seat there afterwards. So now I'm sitting in the seat, you'll see that number 1 and number 2 correspond to increasing or decreasing the speed, both clockwise or anti-clockwise. I'll let everybody figure out which way is which, as it only serves to confuse if I try and relay that. 3 simply resets the speed, so you do have to do that a little bit earlier than anticipated, as even with the strongest braking force it still continues to move a little bit. 4 and 5 simply raise or lower your piston in or out, which kind of moves you from left to right a little bit. It doesn't go fully across, which is a bit of a shame, but pistons kind of don't allow the full distance to go. Now in terms of the gravity generators, if I switch view to this here, 6 will be all of these along here, and 7 will be this one here. 7 does make it a little bit easier to keep the ball locked in, especially when you're resetting it. Just throwing it nearby it sometimes means that it goes above it. Does for me anyway. I found having the gravity generator there, the ability to turn it on or off, made it life a little bit easier sometimes. Finally, when you're ready to fire, you need to turn number 9 off, which is the auto lock for the feet, which means that when I press 8 it will simply drop the ball. So if I turn 6 on now, and I'm going to get ready to run over and watch this at the same time as well, so I'm simply going to drop it and then press T. So that's number 8, it's fired. Now I'm going to chase it. Oh, nowhere near going to catch up, and as you can see, that has hit the pins, which are flying off. I didn't really do that well, but to be fair, I wasn't really aiming. Didn't even have the crosshairs switched on. Obviously now that's how I would take my second shot, and if I had finished that and wanted to replace the Skittles and get rid of all of the ones in the way, I can simply return to these blocks over here, which have been set up with timers, in fact. So if I press number 1, I come back here, you'll see that this bar is now lowering. Now these are welders on the front, so it does repair as it goes, but this will push all of the pins back into this area at the back. Now unfortunately I haven't actually turned the rotors on, because I am rushing for the sake of the video, but should they be on, I think I'm just going to refilm that, to be fair. See that this block comes down, which is on a set of 2 pistons, so it's quite sturdy. That will then weld any damage that it does, but push all of the pins back into the area behind the alley. This is so in effect that they can all be grinded down and basically replaced from the sky by another set. The reason that there are these 2 troughs behind with the wheels that go sideways instead of backwards is simply to allow the ball to return into a separate feed. This at one point was to return the ball to the beginning where it could be reused. However, I did decide that really it was a lot of use, or a lot of effort for not much use, as often not the ball was damaged, and amongst other things it just went wrong. This however does seem to work quite nicely, and if you can hear me over the top of the grinding, even with a few stockages, it usually takes only about a minute and a half to get rid of all of these. The issue is, as you can see, as soon as the inertial mass blocks have been destroyed, they do tend to float around loosely. So a little bit of cleanup is required. But as you can see, we now have a clean area, and it has all reset. So I'm just going to fire it from a little bit of a different angle this time, just for the sake of interestingness.